talk some more about the deconditioning part and the CBF decline. Is it deconditioning or is it disease? Literature states a lot about deconditioning, especially the astronaut literature, but even Farsaik with Mayo Clinic in his first article in 2012 states a lot about deconditioning. His second paper concerning a lot of POTS, he defines deconditioning, which actually we used as a basis for our population to check. He says over predicted VO2 max over 85% is no deconditioning. Severe deconditioning is below 65%. So that's kind of the definition we used. In this second paper, he concluded, by the way, that there's no difference in orthostatic symptoms between deconditioned and not deconditioned persons, defined by this VO2 max criterion. So what we did in our population was checking the people with a cardiopulmonary exercise test, also undergoing head-up tilt test, and subpopulation also wearing a SenseWhere activity bracelet. Cerebral blood flow measurements were performed as stated by Frans just now, and we used for this study only patients with normal hemodynamics. So patients with POTS, patients with orthostatic hypertension, however you call it, were excluded. And we used two ways of checking the deconditioning. First was the CPAT with the 85% criterion, and the second is on steps with the SenseWhere, which I come back to you later on how we did that. So 85 healthy volunteers, 59 patients with a normal CPAT, and 174 patients with a deconditioned CPAT were included in this part. And as you can see, I hope, how do I do this? This is the 5% decrease in cerebral blood flow, as Frans mentioned already. In the 59 patients with no deconditioning, a 23% decline, 24% decline was found in cerebral blood flow, and in the patients who were deconditioned as defined by CPAT, a similar non-significant decline was found. When you kind of subdivide the CPAT in even more severe deconditioning, so over 85, between 60 and 85, and below 60, the pattern of CBF decline is similar. So even if the patients do less and less and less, there's no change in what you find with cerebral blood flow decline. So the next method we did was check with the SenseWhere activity meter, and we kind of, in 114 of our patients, we checked the results of the steps on SenseWhere to CPAT, and there's good correlation in that. So actually sometimes you don't have any CPAT, you will have a SenseWhere. So we checked whether that could be helpful too. First of all, we checked how that the SenseWhere did work on CFS grading, and as you can see, if the grading is mild, they will have 8,400 steps around. If it's moderate, steps are significantly less, 4,900, and if it's severe, it's even less than that, and even some patients don't do more than 800 steps per day. So this correlates very well with grading of your patient, and if you don't have CPAT available and you have an activity meter available, you can kind of use this as quantification of your severity. What we did next was the healthy volunteers who had an activity bracelet and who were obviously not deconditioned because they were normal, had 7,800 steps as a mean per day. We took from our database patients, 31 of them, with similar amounts of steps and compared cerebral blood flow. The healthy volunteers still had 5 as before, and you see with a similar amount of steps, so a similar amount of deconditioning as you might call it, there's a huge difference in cerebral blood flow decline. So this suggests obviously that it's not the deconditioning that does the trick, but something else. And this is one of my last slides. What you here see is again, now with the steps, the severity of the disease and the cerebral blood flow decline, and also here, no difference. And obviously a huge difference compared to healthy volunteers. This is a similar results put in another type of graph with around a range of steps. Oops. No change in cerebral blood flow decline. It's there and it stays there, whether you do 1,000 or 10,000 or 15,000 steps. So, in conclusion, this data suggests that CBF decline is not caused by deconditioning, as evidenced by CPET and as evidenced by activity meters. And even in severe deconditioning as defined by CPET or steps, there is a similar decline in cerebral blood flow compared to patients with mild disease and no deconditioning. So thank you for your attention. I'll be happy to take any questions.
Yes, Franz, come up as well. Both come up, yes.